Hello, sorry. Welcome to Pokemon Sword, Tower of Two Fists. I'm Jordan97, and before I introduce the co-commentators, I'm going to get started very quickly. So, in 3, 2, 1.
Good luck.
So, if you would like to introduce yourselves.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. I can go first. I'm Ava, or Cygnus. I'm a Pokemon and platformer speedrunner ahead in time. I speedrun almost every generation of Pokemon, so I'm quite experienced in the Pokemon genre. I haven't speedrun this game myself, but I'm very familiar with the run. What about you, Etienne?
I'm Etienne. I'm also a Pokemon speedrunner, mainly Gen 1s, but also 5 and 8. I really like this game, but in the any percent category. So
Yeah, so this is Tower of Two Fists, which is the run for the first DLC area of the game. The game released with 2 DLC areas, which was, I believe, a first for Pokemon?
yeah.
Yeah, can't think of anything being done beforehand. So it's a much shorter run than compared to the other later generation Pokemon games, which makes it much more nicer for a marathon to do. But what it's going to involve is to go to the first DLC area and basically try and complete the story for that area. And it's a very, very unique run in the strats that we use, which we'll go on about them when we get to that area. But first, we have effectively the first 30 minutes of actually the Sword 80% run. So
There is this bit, for example, this very long cutscene going for more than 2 minutes and 10 seconds. Jordan doesn't have to do any inputs here. Even if there is some dialogues, you can just wait, and you have to see this cutscene every single time we have to reset. So
yeah.
So yeah, the beginning of Pokemon Sword is kinda slow in every single category, especially because of the scripted area you speak earlier. But it's also most of the speedrunner will see this cutscene a lot of time, especially because of the starter reset things. Because we have to get a starter like in every Pokemon generations, and it's really important to the starter to have a good IVs that we can explain what it's about when we see your very first fight. But or can we do it right now?
I guess we could explain what
Yeah.
IVs are right now. So IVs are, well, named individual values. They're randomly assigned to each Pokemon you catch or get. Like your starter, for example, has a random set of individual values, or IVs, for your HP, your attack, your defense, etc. for all of your stats. And these stats and compared up against the base stats is what determines what your actual Pokemon stats are. So ideally you want high IVs in pretty much everything. There are some niche scenarios where you, maybe not in this game, but in other games where you kind of want your IVs to be, for example, you want to have low defense to get a faster fight in a certain segment, etc. But in general, you want your IVs to be as high as possible. They range from 0 to 31. So it's quite a big range for them to reach over. So there's quite a lot of variance when it comes to starter resets, and this along with natures, which boost and lower a certain stat, is kind of what determines if your starter is runnable or not, or if the Pokemon you catch is runnable or not. So yeah.
Yeah, so what I just did there now is, I'm going to say it's the toughest menu in the game, because I reset that the most, the amount of times. Because one unique thing about the Switch Pro Controller, the D-pad likes to press up when you're actually pressing right, which is very annoying. But we basically set a few options, so that's making the text speed faster, we're removing cutscenes, not that the game removes all of them, because Game Freak, I guess. And then there's a few other smaller, not as important options that we turn off, like for the run we'll turn off giving nicknames, because that wastes a bit of time, and a lot of stuff like that really is.
Autosave also, because this game have an autosave mode, but lose you time sometimes for tiny lags, cannot say lags, but tiny loading times because of those save. And but for this run specifically, we stay with the nicknames, of course, because of the incentive, because of the bit war. I mean,
Well, actually, I turned the nicknames off because we can rename them in the Pokemon Center, which is much more convenient. And because this is the marathon, clearly we're not going to get a runnable Sobble, so we're going to switch to a backup one, most likely.
Yeah.
But at least now, I say most likely, it's actually like I think it's around 60%
for this category.
runnable Sobble. but again,
a-
marathon look.
Yeah, worse for any percent, but for this category, it's more lenient.
Yes, so the only stat requirement that I really need to pay attention to is my special attack. Sobble primarily uses special attacking moves, so don't need to worry about the attack. The HP and defense combination, that's going to be a bit going to be important as well, but I just need to make sure it's not the absolute worst. So as long as it's not that, we're probably going to be fine. And I guess as for the story at this point, we're going to actually be meeting the champion of the game for the first time.
Leon.
Yes. Who will not be relevant to this at all. Not relevant to the run, but
We still
hey,
have to see him.
you still get to see him. And I guess at this point, if there's any donations to be read,
Yeah,
that'd be great.
I have one very relevant one.
Oh.
We have $100 by Wartab,
Whoa.
who
Alright.
says, "Best
Hard
of
work,
luck
lad."
on best of luck on your run, Jordan. Very proud to see you on the big stage at ESA."
Hello,
you,
Wartab.
And they put their donation towards naming Sobble James Pond,
Alright.
which is
Okay.
it's in the lead with $211. We have Bobber with 95, Rip Bobby with 60. Are the only two other options currently running.
Okay, so James Bond with a very solid lead there. I'm gonna guess. Well, I'm gonna guess it is a reference to the final final evolution of the starter that we'll be using in the run. Inteleon, we don't actually see Inteleon, so instead of James Pond, we're gonna be getting more of a moody teenager, I think, if anything.
Yeah.
So, bit of a difference.
Sure is.
Actually, speaking of the starter, though, this is where we actually
Yeah.
get our starter now. So Leon does come in, he gives us the starter, and gives us the options of the three starters. There's Gruhi, which is amazing, probably the best starter in my opinion. There is Scorbunny, the worst starter in my opinion, based on the amount of time
What a
I've had to
great
reset
opinion.
for Shield 80% because it's absolutely awful and I really hate it. Anyway, let's move on. And then there is Sobble, which we'll also be using for this run and is also used in the Sword 80% run.
Yeah. This is the fastest one for Sword 80%, especially because having a special sweeper is what you need for this entire run in the 80%, of course. But here, it will be also pretty useful in this category too, because the moveset, the move pool that you use, and also the special can be very useful at the second part of the run.
Yeah, so let's enjoy this barbecue scene whilst we are here, because, again, this is a cutscene. We said we removed them. It still keeps this one in for some reason.
Yeah.
It did remove... There was a cutscene where like the starters are introduced that gets skipped over. It's very... It's like a pick and mix, really, what they decided to keep in and remove for
Okay.
this.
It feels pretty arbitrary what they've decided to keep and what they haven't.
Yeah, there's also another one later on that I can think of just off the top of my head that you don't, like... So, I guess we assume that cutscene, like, how they class a cutscene is no button inputs, but there's also a section later where there's no button inputs and they still keep it in. There's just so many little peculiar things like that, which is just interesting and at least gives time to not mash. So, I'm just going to be paying attention just to make sure what the general individual values are.
Yeah.
20 HP is one of the lower HP. There's two possible HP values you can get.
And that's a crit.
We didn't crit, it's fine. But
But it's still time loss.
still time loss. But 20 HP is the lower of the two. Defense taking 3 damage, that's probably solid defense. So I don't think it'll be the end of the world on that end. And if we're going to be looking at a special attack in a moment, that is 30-14, that's runnable, and 9-10 for the defense. That is very good. So I think this is actually runnable.
Nice.
Yeah,
You
hey.
don't have to change profile. That's perfect.
Not yet.
Oh yeah,
There's
because
many points.
we have to. Yeah.
So as well, with that being 22, that means probably looking at, I think it's around anywhere between 0 and 15 right now for the HP individual value. If one of you, either of you two actually wants to explain effort values, EVs.
Oh yeah, the EVs. EVs are the values that's side to the IVs. IVs are basically the DNA of a Pokemon that will never change. But EVs will increase considering the Pokemon that you face and that you meet during your round. And so more fight you do with your Pokemon, more the IVs will increase. And for your opponent, IVs are totally scripted. They will always have exactly the same value. So speaking about Warchab earlier, the donator of the 100 bucks, yeah, this guy does an incredible work for this game specifically. You do the routing, of course, 100%, but also you develop many different tools to make a calculation of your AVs and making sure by just watching your stats at every single level up, if you follow the route, of course, to know which EVs you have, and of course considering also the IVs. That some calculations are not hard to do, or kind of hard to do for casual gameplay. And also we forgot to speak about something really important. More than IVs and EVs, there is also the nature. Nature is really important to consider. So this is the things that's being introduced way more earlier. Which generations? I forgot.
Gen 3?
Yeah.
From the Gen 3. So a Pokemon can have a nature that increase by 10% one of the stats and lower another one by 10%. And there is also natural nature that doesn't change anything. But if, for example, Jordan's here have a nature that decreases the special attack, that's an instant reset. That's not a runnable Sobble, for example, because it's too damaging. It's a downside too high to lose 10% of your special attack, for example.
Yes.
This is also the same for the speed. Speed is kind of important in Pokemon because that's allow you to attack first, and in Pokemon in general, but more than that in speedrunning, that's very important. So
yeah. So actually, one of the interesting things about this run, you don't want to be too fast. It's like one of the few runs where you kind of actually want to be fairly slow, because there's a fight later on where you're wanting to be hit before you hit yourself, so you can get knocked into Torrent, which is the Ward Starter equivalent, where when you're under a third of health, you'll deal 1.5. I believe it's like 1.5 times the damage.
Yeah.
So you want to be getting that damage off, because if you don't, it makes the fight a lot worse. So
using Torrent is a very interesting part of this run on the speedruns also, because it's force you to taking risk to be the world record holder.
Yeah. You either risk or you just keep going and going until one run eventually works. That's probably more my strategy with this.
Using Torrent's Blaze or Overgrowth without Fire and Grass alternatives to Torrent is pretty much a staple of Pokemon speedrunning. Pretty much every Pokemon speedrun uses it at least once during the run, but for a lot of them it's very important, like Fire Red Leaf Green, for example, where Torrent is essentially used throughout the entire run. So yeah, setting up Torrent can be very skill testing in a lot of games.
Gen 5 also used that a lot, especially with the old... there is a new rod now, but they use the Blaze, because they use a fire starter. So
yeah, and then just for the grass starter, it's Overgrow, I believe, which I don't think there's any Pokemon speedrun that uses it, because sadly grass is not the best type for
Hollow
speedruns.
Bayleaf percent?
I will use...
Okay, alright, fine. Hollow Bayleaf percent, sure. I guess if we're throwing that in, then Grookey any percent.
I will use that for 2 fights. The grass starter.
Yeah.
Later in this marathon.
Oh, fair enough. Which actually we might be seeing, or we will be seeing, a certain Gen 1 grass starter later, which will be very important for the run.
Yeah, and it's actually, you get to pick, and we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll explain more about that later.
Yeah. Time to flex.
Nah, no flexing.
No
sadly.
flex.
We don't have the cool shirt. We can't flex without the cool shirt.
Yeah, because there is a feature that's totally useless in these games. If you spin very fast, you do exactly...
I wouldn't say useless.
Not useless?
Nah, not useless. It's very important.
Flexing is used in several very serious speedrun categories.
Very, very serious. Which I'm just going to quickly. There's a speedrun, like Japanese speedrun. I think it's like Pokehall-chan or something like that. The pronunciation was probably awful, and if the Japanese stream will probably be laughing at me. But they came in and took all of the Flex on world records, which were originally memes, and they did really well in doing that, like beating times from the previous patch, which is, I don't know how the time difference is.
This Wooloo, that's perfect. Oh my god.
Will it stay in? Because the last
This
few
is not-
times they've all escaped. Hey, finally!
Nice.
So contrary to popular belief, for this game specifically, the Route 1 catches, they are not guaranteed. They're around 90%. They are boosted, but there's many times where it has escaped, and all of them are practice leading up to this. It has escaped, so I'm very glad that stayed in. And level 6 Wooloo is the best. Like, it gives the most experience, so we'll end up actually being a higher level for one of the fights coming up compared to what we would normally be.
Yeah.
But
Off to a good
I'd
start.
say at this point, is there any time for any messages? Because we've got a lot of just
Yeah,
text
there was a
messages.
lot of dialogues at the
So
Yep,
any
sure.
messages?
I'd just like to remind you that we have like a few minutes to get the Sobble name in, yes?
Yes.
Yeah, so if you want to donate to change the Sobble name from James Pond, get it in now. We also have another big incentive for this run to change the run from Don't Get Urshifu into Do Get Urshifu. We're currently just shy of $500 short of that. We need I'm doing maths live, $465 for that. And how long do we have it? About 30 minutes? Sorry, 20 minutes.
Around like 20 minutes. It probably actually could be pushed maybe to even the hour mark, but that is at an ultimate push if we really need that.
Okay.
And
So, if you want to see us get Urshifu in this run, make sure you get donations in and put it towards that incentive soon. Thank you.
yeah. So, and as well with the Sobble nickname, there is around a minute left. We're going to be leaving the. This is actually the Pokemon Lab. There's a lot of books. I guess it seems like a lab. But we're going to come out of here, and then we're going to have another like text bashing cutscene type thing, and then we're going to walk into the Pokemon Center. When we walk into the Pokemon Center, that will be when the Sobble incentive will close. So
we can also speak about the Wooloo earlier. It's not only for the experience; it's for something way more important in the Route 2 later, because there is a catching tutorial like every single Pokemon generations. But if you already have captured a Pokemon, for example in Route 1, like Jordan did, I mean, you will skip that. So it's very important you already having catch a Pokemons before you going to the Route 2.
yeah. So now I guess is when we close because it's actually walked us in for us.
There we go.
Okay.
So give it a few moments to figure out. Well, I assume it'll still be James Pond.
It is James Pond, yes.
I accidentally pressed yes. It didn't
Oh,
say the
no.
down input.
Oh, no.
There's like 15 seconds of time loss.
Oh no.
It's fine though.
Do you know how Pokemon Center work?
Yeah, I know all too well. So we're just going to deposit the Wooloo as well quickly because it just takes time. So rate a nickname. And James Pond, is it capital J and capital P?
Yes, with a space in between.
Okay. I do not normally use a keyboard, so this will be... I remember how a keyboard actually looks for this game. There we go. So James Pond. And we are not naming something else.
Thank you for all of your donation, by the
Yeah,
way.
thank you very much. And if you can keep pushing for the next...
There we go.
keep pushing for Get Urshifu because there is... well, if you know what Kufu looks like, well, if you don't, we're going to be releasing it into the wild and it's going to have to fend for itself. So good luck!
Don't be heartless monsters. Donate.
So actually, the aforementioned catching tutorial that would happen here, we get to skip because of the catching Wooloo. So that I think this is actually also the only game where that can. Oh, that's happens.
Oh yeah, this is the only game that uses this kind of mechanic. For example, in Gen 2, you can just say no. I don't want to. To catch. For Gen 1, you just you have no tutorial at all, except if you talk to a certain man. So Gen 5, you're forced to do the tutorial, and that's take stupid long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Catching tutorials is a lot of time loss in a lot of games.
Yeah.
In Gen 3, it's a time loss. Like in Fire Red Leaf Green, it's time loss. It's pretty much time loss in every generation where you can't say no like this. So it's incredibly convenient to be able to skip it like this.
Yeah, and just something that you may or may not have noticed there. Trainers in this game, similar to Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Moon, they do not walk towards you. So we can just walk wherever and it's kind of fine.
Yeah.
Don't need to worry about walking up to them and talking to them, which is quicker for the earlier generation games.
Yeah. Way quicker. It's most of the times worth to do extra step to talk to the trainer instead of just passing through.
Yeah.
But not in this generation. That's fine. And it's also this kind of generation. You use exactly the same system than Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Ivy. With Pokemon's, you cannot have you can have some random encounter in the grass, but it's only based on execution. Normally with some of random, of course, but you can dodge every single wild fight if you're skilled enough in these games, and that's cool. But sometimes you face a Zigzagoon and oops!
Either a Zigzagoon or a Rookidee, which will have like for some reason like hitbox is just a million times bigger than an actual Rookidee. It makes makes no sense. You just kind of have to be extra careful. So one peculiar thing about this fight, this Blipbug only has one move, and it is
Juggle Bug, yeah.
Juggle Bug, which it lowers our special attack by one stage. So if either one of you two want to talk about stages, actually, let's not change the move.
I can go for it. So there is different decrease or increase you can get during a fight. Honestly, the entire Pokemon strategy is also based into that. So for example, some attack like Struggle Bugs can decrease your attack by one stage. There is 6 stage higher and 6 stage lower. And for example, by one stage you lose, if I'm right, 25% of your damage. That's 50 or 25?
You'll lose a third because I guess it'll be 2 over 3.
I don't remember exactly, but that's honestly a huge problem in some fight because normally that should force you to do switch, because all of the switch strategy is based on those decrees. But in this beginning of the run, that's not even an option. So we just have to go through, and that's lose a lot of time. And in many generations and the beginning of the speedruns, attack like Growl, like other stuff that decrease your stats, is a huge problem. That can be a huge run killer or a big time lost.
Yeah, so at this point, this is just because we've been skipping over the story, because like I mentioned before, we don't deal with this part of the story at all for this run. But I guess to give a bit of context, what we're actually about to do is fight Hop once again, and it's going to prove to Leon whether we deserve to enter the Pokemon League Challenge, which is actually done by invite in this generation. So let's talk to Hop now to say that we are ready to fight. And we have some more text because this game loves to throw in some text boxes here and there and everywhere.
There is also a mashing. There is also a kind of particular how you have to mash the text in this game. There is 2 triggers in the Switch Pro controller that do exactly the same things than the A button. So what you do is holding normally one of the trigger and mashing the other trigger on the A button to have the most optimal mashing on this game. And most of the time is what we do at every single dialogue in this game.
Yeah. Is this going to be a 3-shot? Is it going to do the 1 in 16?
Yeah.
Looks very rangy.
Of course! No. That's 1 turn lost, but oh well. So that's like a 1 in 16 chance to happen with this special attack. I think it's probably going to guess we have 19 special attack at this point. And we'll level up here, and okay, yeah, it was 19. So just very unfortunate, but it happens. And we're going to hope that Hop doesn't say anything, because hopefully he will not use a fire type move.
Yeah. Let's see.
Ah.
Time lost once again. So it's entirely in RNG. We cannot do anything about that.
Yeah, unfortunately. And we got burnt! Which it doesn't lower our attack at all. If we were using physical moves, it would. And he crit as well!
It will speak again! Oh my god!
All the conversation points.
Oh my god.
So Huff speaks when their critical hit happens in that fight, which loses a lot of time. The critical hit text box itself takes a while to disappear, so it's a lot of time lost here with the burn, the crit, and everything just
You
going wrong.
got everything.
Yeah.
This fight. This is
Got-
probably one of
Got the
the
full
worst
platter
fight
right there.
possible. Yeah.
Perfect for you.
Mr. 1 in 16 range too.
Yeah, and more than that, burn making some animation as you see, and that's
Like
making
this.
and you see there is a huge time before the attack animations begins, and that's lose you time also if you are get burned, poisoned on every single of sound or change of the status. Oh my god, this fight was
It was
pretty
everything,
unlucky.
everything that could have gone wrong went wrong, but it's fine. We're okay. You can actually lose that fight and the game will still progress anyway, but we need to win it just for the gain in the experience later on in the run. But at this point, we've got more text to match through, so if there's any donations or messages to be read.
Okay, we do. We have a $20 donation from Marvin, who doesn't leave a comment, but they did put it towards the Get Urshifu incentive.
Thank you, Marvin.
So now we are slightly closer to that. We now need 400. I'm doing the maths thing again. $445 to get that. Thank you.
We still have the entire runs to rush this goal because it's at the very end of the run.
Yeah, it's I'd say we could probably push it to the hour mark if needed, but
Okay.
the quicker you can do it, the better. for
Yeah,
Chelsea.
definitely.
So I think at this point, the entire purpose of this cutscene is to say that Sonya wants to make curry. So cool.
Incredibly useful cutscenes.
Yeah.
Not anything to do with the meteorite that fell from the sky and will turn into bracelet, wrist strap,
Yeah,
whatever you want to class it as.
And we can hear a tiny jingle during this black screen. This is insane how many times these games heal yourself during a run.
Yeah, so anytime you hear like dun 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 or something like that, that is a free heal right there.
There is even a time somewhere in the 80% run when you get healed 2 times in a row
Yeah.
without getting a single.
So that's around the just after the 6th gym.
Yeah.
You can fight Hop for the 7th time.
7th time.
You fight Hop a lot in the 80% run, but it's like the 7th, like just before the 7th fight, you'll get healed when you go into like a restaurant to progress the story, and then technically at that point you can say no to Hop, and then like do whatever you want, which is why when you say yes to Hop to do that fight, you'll get another heal from Sonya. But again, we don't even get near to that point in this run. We're going to go into the first town and then do a little bit of cutscene stuff and then walk away because that is not the DLC area. We're not too bothered about it for this run. But the scariest walk back through a route ever right now. We don't get to see anything until like kind of the last minute for this corner, so I'm going to hope. Hey, cool, nothing there. The exclamation mark came up, you can walk over them. Just don't stand there. If you stand there, you'll have an encounter. But if you're walking over it, it should be fine.
It took something like 2 seconds before your the grass begin to shaking, and that's mean here there is an hitbox active for finding a Pokemon. So, but normally if you don't stop, you never be able to hit an exclamation mark. So this is where the things begins to go into the DLC.
Yeah.
Well, it goes into the wild area.
Oh, yeah, the wild
we
area,
have a
yeah.
few things first,
Yeah,
but we'll be visiting this train station once again.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I
Yeah,
doing
there's
the things too fast.
like one major bit of RNG before we get to the DLC area.
Everyone likes Onyx, right?
Yeah.
Rocksnack.
Oh yeah, we didn't speak about that, but earlier before the run begins, you set up a date and a particular date and hour in the Switch to manipulate the RNG for the weather here, and that's kind of important because the rain will help you to kill this very strong Onyx, very high level Onyx, to get some extra experience that can be that's very important for the rest of the run. So probably a safety save, before the Onyx,
Definitely a safe save.
Because even with water type and the rain, that can be a difficult fight.
For sure. A lot of runs probably die at this point.
Yes. So it's something like, I might be wrong with it, something around 60% again, where the run will die. But we can do this constantly as long as we save beforehand. And worst case scenario, I'll set up a backup save for after the fight. So, Tech, you don't need to worry if things go too bad.
Yeah.
I can just switch over.
But you'll get it first try, so it's not an issue.
I mean, I did in the last practice, which means, well, I mean, actually, we've got the runnable Sobble, so maybe things are going in the right direction.
Yeah. You did a hitless in the last practice.
Yeah, actually hitless. So you can get hit by it and survive. Sometimes it's actually quite good because it'll put you into torrent. But if we see Rock Slide, 90% chance that the run's dead, or the run would be dead if you're doing world record attempts at this point. So I'm gonna walk over. Of course, there's another text box that'll pop up quickly.
So the waiver is
And save.
as expected, the rain. And there we go.
Here we go. So what we're going to hope for is either Curse or Screech. So Screech will lower your defense. Doesn't matter, we're going to be dying to Rock Slide anyway. Or we want Curse, which will... And there we go. So got to close that down, and then we'll open it back up. So yeah, we either want Screech or we want Curse. Dragon Breath, as long as the special defense isn't too low, can also be fine for the first turn. If it happens twice, then that's another reset. We'll do this 2 more times, and then we'll switch over. So, number 2.
So yeah, the timing set, we'll get back to this later also, but the timing and deity set before starting the run will come into play later also. It's not only for rain on this route, it's for rain in another area and a couple of other things.
Oh, we got good.
So
We're not even in torrent. We've got
That's
very
not-
good special defense.
Okay.
Did over half damage, and Rock Slide, and it hit.
Oh.
It is what it is. This is actually just the Get Urshifu experience right now, I'd say. Just getting Rock Slide over and over.
Oh yeah, that's a huge reset point at this moment. So because you really need this experience later in the run,
Yes.
especially it's too important. You cannot go we cannot go through without this this amount of experience. That gives us 3 level if I'm right at this moment. So
Yeah, it will give us 3. Alright,
Yes,
Screech.
3.
Alright. Okay. Oh, that was a very low roll, but I think we did a pretty high roll earlier, so I think it might be fine. Screech.
let's go.
there we go.
Just better not
Please.
miss the range.
Yes.
Hey! Let's go. So, and level 13 defense is 17. We're going to teach Water Pulse over Bind. 17 defense is very good at this point as well, and we'll get 1 more level up. So,
Yeah, pretty solid Sobble.
and we're gonna walk around so we can avoid another text box that'll pop up if we go on the other side of those rocks.
That's kind of good that this one is not active because that makes
Yeah.
this tiny text box a little bit faster. There we go.
Yeah, so 50 watts. I'm gonna walk through the grass and hope that I don't run into an Electrike or a Metapod.
Okay, second fight of the warrior.
Yeah, we do need a tiny bit more experience here, so we're going to try and fight this Manectric. Obviously, Electric against Water, it's not the best, but if we can get this, start with Growl just to weaken it.
Oh no.
Unfortunate.
That is unfortunate.
That's a reset, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I keep missing the home button to close the game down and open it back up. Oh well, oh no. Oh well, let's just go to Moso. So that is the first of many Death Warps.
Yeah, it's totally intended as you expected. In this game, when you die, you do not lose half of your money like old generations. Honestly, the drawback for death is really tiny. You lose a tiny amount of pocket dollars. And also in wild area, that make you crazy death warps win you a tons of time. This is why in many different categories we just kill ourselves at this wild area to go immediately on the other side of the wild area, and that's win you times because walking is slow in Pokemon Sword.
Yeah. And as well for this run, like normally in Pokemon runs you'll get a bike at some point or you'll be able to fly at some point. We're skipping all of that because we're normally done with the run by the time that you would get to those points in any percent. So yeah, we're gonna have to walk and faint a lot. So we're gonna do actually the first shop of the run.
Yeah.
Coming up. If
Yeah,
I'm gonna let someone else speak whilst I make sure I do this correctly.
we speak earlier about how important the increase or decrease of your stats is important during a fight, and those X items getting buffed in pretty recent generations. Now using, for example, X special attack, increase your special attack not to one step but 2 steps. So it's a really powerful item. After 2 turns, you can be pushed at +4, and making you able to one-hit KO most of the opponents that you will face. Most of the times, only one item should be enough.
Yeah.
And you also buy some X attack. That's totally normal because we will not use only Sobble.
Well, if we're gonna
depends.
change this to get Urshifu
Yeah.
at some point, we'll be using the X attacks. If not, well,
Oh,
it was a waste of time. But and we'll have to say goodbye to Kofu, which would be very sad. So please keep bringing the donations in for that run.
We don't want to see Cub for Cry.
Yeah, and also we're actually finally done with the the sword any percent type of story. So we'll be making our way over to the first DLC area.
Yeah.
But a couple of introductions to characters first. After we try and fight this Mudsdale, very powerful. It's ground type though. We're super effective against this, so surely that means we are going to do and easily beat this.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Oh no!
So this Death Orb saves a lot of time.
Yeah.
This is always a Mudsdale, so yeah, no.
I'm also gonna mash B and not A, so just
Oh
one
yeah.
idea.
Don't do the wrong warp here, because these questions, many runs, especially in any percent, when you have to go to the another town way farther.
Yeah.
Many runs can get killed only by this text box by selecting the wrong option. So you have to be careful about that. And here we go for
New character introduction.
Yeah, the new
Yeah.
character, question mark, question mark, question mark.
I wonder who it could be.
And the most important character, Galarian
Yeah.
Slowpoke.
Slowpoke.
The star of the run.
Actually the star of the run. So, we have to catch this. If we try and defeat this, it will just stay there and we'd just be stuck in a loop. So we have to catch this. So you may have noticed earlier when I went to, I talked to the raid den and got the 50 watts.
Yeah.
We went, talked to the, I can't actually remember what they're called, but basically we talked to someone who we
Macrocosmos
bought.
guy, yeah.
Yeah, we bought a quick ball, which will guarantee this catch and save some time in there. And again, 100% chance to catch. We're going to take this every time. You
Yeah.
could, in theory, water pulse and use a Pokeball, hope it stays in the ball, but it's most likely case it's not going to work out. So we'll just get the quick ball and guarantee it.
That's kind of interesting in this generation, because once again in Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Ivy, catch giving you experience. Yeah, that's a kind of interesting mechanics. And also the quick ball is the favorite ball of the Pokemon speedrunning community, because of course if you use it in a very first turn, that's make a very, very high catch rate. So
Yes.
we will even use that in other categories too, because it's really easy by RNG manipulate once again the date of the switch and to have the quick ball at this shop, because there are not always quick ball to sell at this moment of this part of the wild area.
Yeah. So that data manipulation was very important to make sure we had the quick ball. I'll always, if we let the time roll over from, so we set it to I think for this run set it to 23:52. If we let the day roll over before we enter the wild area, that quick ball will always be there.
And you'll get rain on our route coming
You'll
up
get the rain.
later, which is very useful.
So Manectric spawns there as well.
Yeah.
There's so important why we picked the 18th of October. So we're actually currently on the 19th of October. It is not currently February the 16th. That's a lie. But if there's any time for any messages, because we're just going to be mashing through this texting whilst being first introduced to Clara.
All right, I'd like to take a minute to let you guys know about prizes.esamarathon.com to motivate people to donate to get the Urshifu, because people really want to release,
Yeah,
apparently.
Yeah. I mean, hey, it makes the run 10 minutes shorter and there's less RNG. So
Well, I want to watch more.
exactly. So if you want to watch more, keep
All
doing
right.
it.
Yeah, but anyway, on prizes.esamarathon.com, we currently have 4 temporary prizes that are based on games in the schedule, so they're only available for a short time. So if you get your donations in now, you have a pretty good chance to win them. It's the Fist Forged in Shadow Torch figurine for a minimum donation of $20. You've got 2 Fist Forged in Shadow Torch t-shirts, and there's also a really cool... oh no, that one's actually gone now. Wow, okay, if you wanted a Hat in Time thing, too late. But the other things I just said are still there. I set myself up for failure there. But anyway, get your donations in, head on over to prizes.esamarathon.com. We have so many other prizes. If you're at the top of the screen, there's PS5s and everything. So yeah, get your donations in, and I'll let them explain what's going wrong.
We got crit again.
What's going wrong with the critical?
And Clara also has dialogue
Yeah.
when you crit, and Clara's pretty much a rival for this DLC.
Yeah.
So she kind of takes the role of Hop here, and she also steps into it nicely by providing extra details when crit happens.
Though-
It's lovely.
One thing that actually, like, it's kind of interesting that the crit happened, because yesterday we had the crit happen. We got poisoned on the same turn, which is also possible, but it ended up cancelling that text block. So hey, that's something new we learned.
We didn't have a recording about that, but we didn't have any dialogue with a critical. That's
Yeah.
I never saw that before, but yeah, that was kind of weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Ah.
But yeah, so Clara, as acting as a rival, she doesn't want us to go to the dojo at this point because obviously we just beat her and we're clearly the better trainer. So she's going to say, stay away from that dojo over there.
Pointing
So-
point.
This dojo here.
And then
See, stay aware of it.
And she tries to bribe us off with the style card as well, which allows us to buy extra DLC exclusive clothes. So that's something. I'm just going to quickly go into the bag and equip the Cherry Berry for the next fight because we need that. We're not going to heal. We don't need to heal because free heals in this game are aplenty. So we'll get that. Get free heal before that happens, but we do need to equip the Cherry Berry just for. I guess technically you could not equip it, but safety, and even though this one that would have triggered that exclamation mark, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, safety. And hi, Diglett.
Hello, Diglett. About Cherry Berry is to heal a paralyzed statues if it's happened during the next fight. So it's gonna be very useful to don't have to deal with that if you are unlucky.
Yep. Pokemon will be using a move called Force Palm, which is a 30% chance to paralyze.
Yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
So yeah, you could skip the Cherry Berry and save some time of it, but it's better just to play it safe.
Yeah. And so I'm trying to think, because we've got very good defense, we've got very good HP. I don't think it's a situation where it could be too good. Because I guess it could technically be too good, but I don't think that's the case for this.
Yeah, we talked about this where
Yeah. You
a
could,
very
in
niche
theory-
scenario.
Yeah, very, very niche. I don't think I've ever had it personally, the amount of times I've ran this. So, we're going to be introduced to Honey. Kind of a side character in the DLC, but we'll be introduced to her husband, Mustard. So, Honey Mustard. There's there's a lot of things like that in the DLC. So, I'll give credit, give really high credit to
Would you look
Game
at
Freak.
that?
They made a lot of the writing. We're mashing through all, so you might not see it, but there's a lot of really funny writing in this. So it was really fun reading it through when I first played it back in June. It was June 2020, I think this came out.
Yeah,
For
it's
the
the first DLC.
Yeah.
Then the other DLC came out later.
Yeah, that came out on October 23rd in the UK. It came out on October 23rd in the UK, which was my birthday, so woo.
Oh, nice.
I'll definitely remember that one. But yeah, we're going to get given the experience charm here, this boost experience for the rest of the run by 1.5, so we're going to level up even quicker, which is obviously very helpful.
Yeah, especially because at the end of this run, if we get this help from the chat and from the donations, we will still have a huge gap to get from the experience. Yeah.
Alright, so we're going to save because Mustard can also be mean sometimes. If the standard fight happens, it's beautiful. If it is not the standard fight, yeah,
We'll
it's
get
not
to
that
standard
great.
fight.
Not great.
Ball. There we go.
So mustard.
Dun, dun, dun.
Like again, with the standard fight, it should use fake out on turn 1. So we're gonna set up the next special attack, and we're gonna hope that everything works out well.
Yeah, and then hopefully after that we get Force Palm and no crit, which will put us into Torrent, hopefully, unless our defense is too good.
Fake out.
That's cool. That's a bit
That seems
good
fine.
beginning.
And then Water Pulse, Force Palm. Alright, good. This is the normal fight.
And no
And
crit.
we're fine.
There we go.
Hey, so that was very nice.
And then the next Pokemon is Shinx.
The next Pokemon is a Shinx,
and
which
you
we will
Always
always
outspeed, yeah.
So yeah, if there's any donations to be read, because there's going to be a bunch of story stuff after this.
Okay, in that case, I would like to read a $5 donation we got from Anace, who says, "Good morning, ESA. Hope you're all well rested, staying hydrated, and most importantly, donating to help beat Alzheimer's. Good luck on the run."
Thank you very much, and thank you for the donation. So with this bit of the run now, we have mustard. Like this has allowed us to join the dojo. We weren't even meant to be part of the dojo. You may have noticed there was a person who, at the beginning in this train station, when we first came in, who acted scared and then ran away. They were meant to actually join the dojo, and we accidentally took their place. But we get a cool dojo uniform out of it. So
I like those.
all's well that ends well. Oh yeah, of course, shin pads. Not shin pads, knee pads. I don't even know what, like... There's no need for them, really, but... Hey, it fits well with the costume. So, because we get a dojo uniform, though, Clara is going to be upset in a second. We're also going to talk about the first trial where we'll find out... We're going to have Clara interrupt us first. Complain about the fact that she doesn't have a dojo uniform. And so she gets given one now. And, oh, what was that? What happened there? Slowpoke. Okay. So these Slowpoke, they've just been a bit cheeky. Listen, I mean they're slow. They're not that fast. We can just quickly get the dojo uniform back, right? Oh. Alright, well. I guess we're gonna have to go after them, right?
Yeah.
That is going to be our first trial.
Yeah, the first try.
Those Slowpoke are not slow, by the way. We'll see that.
Yeah, we'll see that.
Yeah, they are a bit speedy, we can say. Perfect for a speedrun. So everyone kind of just realizes, oh wait, this is the trial. We need to get out of here. Of course, we stand still for like an extra while, because why not? I was going to quickly mash B here, so we stay in the dojo uniform. Because if we press A, we get changed back into the original clothes that we're wearing, and that's time loss.
That's cool. I like those.
Yeah, I mean, this is a cool uniform, to be fair.
It's
Like,
preferable to the standard outfit.
Definitely. So you're going to see how fast these are very quickly. Just look at them go. Like, they're clearly faster than the trainers there. So, like, how are we going to catch up to these is going to be interesting. Like, we're going to have to think, use our noggin for a bit. But we're going to quickly, before we head over there, we're going to talk to this person here. We're going to buy some berries. We're going to buy 11 Pecha berries and 11 Chesto berries. And do we need all those berries? No. Is it quicker to get those berries because we can just press one button?
Yeah.
Yes.
The thing is, getting 11s only need one input because it's increased by 10 instead
Yes.
of multiple 10. But we have, as we said, even if we use Death Warped, the drawback by losing Pokédollar is so tiny that we have way enough money for the NCC's entire run. So we don't care to lose money by buying some extra things.
So this is the last route that the manip or the date manip actually impacts. So the fact that we have rain here is also determined by the fact that Jordan set his date to what he did.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And if you want to just explain the menu as well, either one of you, just whilst I'm doing this.
The menu,
The
what?
menu that I'm just currently doing right now. So
Oh yeah,
teaching and healing and all of that jazz.
this is all of those things to prepare the fight for slowpokes, and especially when you have to menuing in Pokemon Sword, you try to do all of the things in one menu. For example, if you have to equip some things, but also to have to heal, you can't wait until the heal is needed for equip an item and so on. Especially for learning attack. If you want to learn an attack, just wait the moment and you have to heal, for example, or equip another item.
So
Yeah.
these slowpokes have Yawn, Confusion,
Yeah.
Disable, which is pretty awful of a moveset.
Yeah.
You can get confused, and then you can hit yourself in confusion, and then we use the move to finish them off. Or when they can disable Muddy Water, so sometimes you'll swap to Water Pulse instead of Muddy Water, and it's just pretty messy because Muddy Water itself can also miss, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
there's
so-
a lot of things that can go wrong and lose time in this section.
Muddy Water is 95%. No,
Oh, I wish it was 95%. No, it's
90?
85.
it's 85.
15% chance to miss
so
every
that's
time we
50.
use it. And effectively for this run, because Muddy Water also lowers accuracy, but that's not important because when we're using it, we're going to be defeating the Pokemon. So it's effectively Surf, but it misses, which is not nice. But
Animation looks good.
all those animations that we are currently skipping, another one of the options that we managed to turn off, or are able to turn off. There's some games like Pokemon Colosseum
Yeah,
where you do not get to do that.
the game is
Yeah.
very precious to me.
That's amazing, to be fair. Like, Colosseum's such a good run. Colosseum as well.
Yeah.
Highly recommend it. It's a great run. I believe we should be fine on health. Alright, use Disable, that's fine.
yeah,
if we
it's
don't
fail.
attack, Disable's fine.
And that's it. Let's go.
So yeah, using the healing, using the X item turn 1, just if it happens to be Disable on the second turn, because we can't defeat with Muddy Water on the first turn, at this point at least.
And now the thing.
Just using the X item will prevent Muddy Water from being disabled on the second turn. But hey, we're Drizzile now.
Yeah, the slightly edgier version of Sobble.
Yeah, I guess so.
Unfortunately, we don't get to see the actual James Pond, which
Yeah.
the name is probably a reference to, like you said, in the speedrun. But
So again, like as I mentioned before, we can't, like, we're not quick enough to reach Slowpoke, so we're just going to conveniently wait here whilst it turns around. So
Did he notice you? No.
no, he did not notice me, thankfully. You can get it to follow you. There's been times when I tried to do that and then I just walk past the Slowpoke, like the fool I am. So didn't want to try and do that this time. And instead, so this time I'm going to use Muddy Water turn 1 because we can actually use. Oh, we should be able to either deal enough damage.
Oh.
Alright, let's just use Water Pulse in case. Okay, use Acid. But if it did decide to use Disable, Muddy Water would have been bad. It would have just meant no move. So Disable, Water Pulse gets disabled, and then we use Muddy Water instead. So nice bit of adapting there.
not too bad of a route.
And
Could
what,
go way worse.
and
Yeah.
what I'm going to do, because I was actually meant to do this earlier, was deposit the Slowpoke before I run into that Malamar behind me.
Or
Just-
you would have a bad time, or a slow time rather.
Yeah, slow time. So let's just. Ooh.
Yeah, so this Malamar is another death
It's
blow.
another death blow. We're not going to do the joke 3
Yeah,
times.
yeah.
I'm just going to have 4.
Yeah,
Enough
no.
of this joke.
Yeah. So it's another death orb set up next to it
No.
intentionally. It can actually spot you. So you gotta be careful that it doesn't spot you when you're standing right there. But yeah, you're set up close to it, and so you can just walk into it right after defeating the last Slowpoke.
Yeah, and one very convenient thing about the DLC area, we enter the dojo. That sets our spawn point, or like how, where we come back, we get to the dojo. So, and typically, we always want to be going to the dojo. So it's just so convenient how it works out like that.
So now we retrieved Clara's uniform, which
Yeah.
she never wears.
Yeah, she never wears it. So we had to do the trial anyway, but she got moody about not having the dojo uniform. Lost the dojo uniform. We had to chase after the Slowpokes to get the dojo uniform. We hand her the dojo uniform. And then she doesn't wear the dojo uniform. So it is what it is.
What?
But
Oh my god.
here is Bulbasaur and Squirtle. Which one do you want us to pick? If anyone wants to shout out quickly.
I love Bulba. Like
You love
Genesis
Bulba?
in the audience.
Well, we are going to be picking Bulba. There was no choice anyway. But
Bulbasaur is faster, and you'll see coming up in a little while why Bulbasaur is faster, but it ends up being the better choice for this speedrun.
and the best thing about it is level 5. So that might seem low, and it is, and that's good for more Death Warps later. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna. Bulbasaur is just gonna be used to Death Warp everywhere, and it's also gonna be used. It is gonna be used for one fight, at which point it will then die. So
Eat some spice.
I'm sorry, people who like Bulbasaur. This is not gonna be this is not gonna be pleasant viewing for you from now on.
Oh no.
But this actually kicks off the second trial though. At this point, where we're going to try and find some max mushrooms for some soup. Like that's literally the point. You're gonna be making soup with the max mushrooms. So we're kind of just doing Mustard's like shopping list or chores at this point. But a trial is a trial, so we have to do it. Before we actually leave the dojo though, I'm going to just deposit the Bulbasaur. We don't need it with us at this point. So I'm gonna put it there.
So convenient that you can just deposit your Pokemon
Yeah.
anywhere. You don't have to go to a PC like in a lot of other Pokemon games.
This generation inserts so many different mechanics to make all of the things with smoother. People thinks most of the time that was making the game easier, but that's not it. For example, having the sharing the experience for your entire crew, or making you able to deposit Pokemons when you're playing during an era, making all of the games way more comfy to play, honestly. So yeah, that's what this is a great feature in my opinion.
Yeah, and one very nice thing Mustard does here, he takes us to like the entrance of the forest, so we don't have to walk through the area that we were just in, because we are new to the island.
Yep.
We don't know where anything is. Mustard realizes that, so he just points us in the right direction.
Still gonna be a little bit of walking. But
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's still walking.
Yeah.
There's always walking.
This
but
area is crazy big.
We're just going to be making sure we don't walk into any encounters. There can be some very small ones that are like smaller than grass, so I'm just going to be like paying attention, making sure that we're not running into like a Venipede or a Foongus. They're the small ones also in the Moog. I'm going to say like a Moongus then. I've been like people have said a Moongus too much, but I'm not, like I can't remember what is the name of the Pokemon at this point?
I don't even remember.
The big mushroom.
Oh yeah.
The big
Is it a
mushroom.
Moongus?
Actually,
I don't remember.
my brain's been confused too much at this point.
Every single Pokemon fan in the chat will
Yeah, I'm sure chat is correcting me a million times over right now.
So Jordan's
But,
gonna go pick up a Moo Moo Milk here, which is a healing item that'll come in handy later.
yeah, it heals 100 health, so it's going to heal full health because we're never going to have more than 100 health at any point during the run. So it's effectively like a full restore or a max potion in this situation.
so many Gen 1 Pokemon
Yeah, but hey,
everywhere.
that's the
Amazing.
mushrooms.
Oh.
Easy. Like this is easy. We can just we'll just save. You know, they can be.
Do not eat that, honestly.
Oh,
That's-
Yeah.
Those are not safe for human consumption. Do not eat those mushrooms. But just as we're about to, why are you doing here? Why are you chasing us? Just a bit tired. You know, I'd be tired out after that run. To be fair. All right, fine. We've got to fight over these mushrooms. So this is actually a very consistent fight. 99% of the time. I've had one situation a couple of days ago where the Slowpoke confused me, I missed Muddy Water, and then I hit myself in confusion twice and lost the fight.
Yeah.
So that's why I saved.
That's not gonna happen now.
Hopefully.
No.
Hopefully.
This is a Pokemon Marathon run. What are you hoping for?
Okay.
No confusion.
Nice.
And 85. Okay.
No confusion.
Alright, we're good. So we're just well, I say we're good. We
Unless
still
you
need to
miss
hit
again.
the Muddy Water.
There we go.
There we go. So this fight's pretty safe. So I'd say at this point, if there's any donations to be read, we'll be good to go.
Excellent. In that case, I will tell you that we got a $25 donation from Grucho Barks,
Okay.
who says, "Good morning and greetings from the US. Good luck with the rest of the run, Jordan." And they put it towards the Urshifu incentive. How much longer we got on that, do you think?
There is probably like 5 to 10 minutes. There's not long left.
Okay, so you heard him. If you want us to get Urshifu in this run, it makes the run a little bit longer and we get to get a cool Pokemon.
Yes.
Get your donations in now. We need just over $400.
It's going to
you
be a
can
bit
do
of a push.
You can do it, and it all goes to a great cause to Alzheimer Fondant. So yeah, donate now.
I believe in
I
the
believe
in the donators.
There was some crazy donation this morning by 500, I guess.
Yeah.
That was. Thank you
Yeah.
for all of that. Yeah.
Thank you for all these
Yeah,
donations.
that's- I also tried to donate to rename the Sobol Rip Bobby after the big the big run of the Black Tastic yesterday from the crowd control. There was some crazy donation during this this run. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
You were right.
I believe in trap, but also I'm gonna have to pick this up just in case. So we're gonna pick up this rocket helmet, which will be useful much later on. We're also going to swap to Bulbasaur. I'm sorry, everyone. So we know
No,
this direction. And Bulbasaur can take on a Rhyperior,
Yeah,
surely.
yeah. He can do it.
Yeah.
Do it,
It's a grass
Bulbasaur.
type. It's 4 times effective.
Yeah,
Really,
4
it's got
times
a chance.
effective.
Yeah.
Do we actually have a grass move at this point?
I'm not.
We have
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
we do.
See, I know this is getting better.
No.
Oh,
I
mean,
critical it.
Hey, there's no extra text for this, it's fine.
It's
It's
but
still,
it's
it's still slower, but not as slow. So that's going to take us back to the dojo.
It's been a lot of unfortunate crits this round.
And yeah, so we have one fight is going to, we've got some cutscene, like story stuff here. We're going to be shown soup making, and then we've got like a bit more text, and then the fight, so like 5 to 10 minutes. So not much time left before we're going to have to release Kofu into the wild. And probably Bulbasaur at this point, because I mean, I may as well at that point.
Monster.
Monster or letting it roam free
True.
and live to its heart's content.
Out in these wilds though, with Rhyperiors and...
Hmm?
Out in these wilds with Rhyperiors and...
I mean, as long as it doesn't go to the desert, like, I mean, it's fine. A Bulbasaur in the desert, you wouldn't expect it to go there anyway. It's fine. It's fine.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah, sure. But yeah, Clara actually runs in there. She finds some max mushrooms of her own. So those ones, like the max mushrooms that Clara uses, ends up using the soup. We get to keep the max mushrooms that we found. And one very unique property with max mushrooms. So we have X items that will increase by 2 stage. Max mushrooms increase a stage by 1, but it does it for every single stat
Yeah.
value. So speed, like attack, defense, special attack, special defense, speed, they are all going to get increased.
At the moment when we use the max mushroom, we will see many different Xbox during a fight.
Yes.
Yeah.
We also need to bring in James Pond once more. Put into the second slot because we still have some very important things for the Bulbasaur to do.
Yeah. During the fight that we will see during the next fight, it's yeah, really important to doesn't start with your main Pokemon that we will use for this fight, especially to tank one attack,
Yeah.
as we will see. So I will not spoil it.
Yeah.
We'll explain it when it comes up.
Yeah.
We do also crit the Petra Berry though, and that's because you know Petra Berries they heal poison. If that's a hint of anything to come. But yeah, there's like the ultimate last final trial coming up right now, which is just a Pokemon fight. We're gonna fight Clara. She's gonna run off. Nothing suspicious about that. Nothing at all. And we're gonna just talk about Mustard. Mustard's gonna talk to her saying, since you've usually like she has talent, but she didn't have much drive. But since you've turned up, you've really pushed her, and hopefully she's not going to do anything dodgy. I think it's pretty much like the summation of what that conversation was right there. So we're just gonna run forward. The reason why we actually also do that menu, like I did the menu in the dojo and not in this section specifically.
Yeah.
You can't swap Pokemon in the section like this leadway into the
Yeah, the vibe.
stadium,
It's
I guess?
what, as you said earlier during the practice room. It's exactly the same area when you go into, for example, a big stadium.
Yeah.
In the rest of the game, you can open the menu, but you cannot switch Pokemons.
Yeah, we can't bring James Pond in. So yeah, we are going to. We did that all before. We say before Clara because there's a couple of Pokemon in this fight that are scary, and by scary I mean very annoying, depending on what they decide to do and random RNG elements, of course.
And
Because
like
this is
50%
Pokemon.
chances.
50% chances, 30% chances. Many things could go wrong in this fight. So just saving before there is vital. And those little glitters. They are toxic spikes.
Yeah, and Bulbasaur is a poison type, which is why we actually lead with Bulbasaur here, because when you lead with a poison type on toxic spikes, the poison type will actually absorb the toxic spikes, which means that when Jordan swaps in, it doesn't consume his Pecha Berry, which cures it to poison, and he doesn't get poisoned at all, which is incredibly useful, and the reason you pick Bulbasaur over something like Squirtle. Or
Yeah.
Thank you for this, Bulba.
Thank you.
Thank you for the sacrifice.
Not in vain. I say might be in vain. Yeah, there's still things that can go wrong, but for now it's not in vain.
So this Scorpy here is quite annoying too, because it does Poison Fang, and that I hinted at earlier, 50%. Poison Fang has a 50% chance to poison, which is why you equip the Pecha Berry.
Yeah.
You really don't want to get poisoned here, as that's quite annoying.
Oh, turn 1 poison, that's not good.
That's convenient.
But we'll use a special attack. Are we going to get poisoned? 50-50.
Yes.
Okay, we need to hit the Muddy Water now, which is 85% accurate. And okay, this is
pretty
good. Pretty solid fight at this point. So Muddy Water is 85% accurate. But what we are going to do now is we are going to Dynamax, which is the gimmick of Generation 8, where we grow big and massive, and our moves will deal more damage. And more importantly, they are fully accurate, so we don't have to worry about missing Muddy Water. So around 2 minutes left, oh, not even 2 minutes probably at this point, maybe like a minute and a half before the end of, or for the last chance if you want to switch this to get Urshifu.
So now we watch James Pond take down capitalism once and for all.
Capitalist Weezing. So we get rid of the Weezing. There is a Venipede or Venipede? A Whirlipede. It's the other one.
Yeah, Whirlipede. And also the things introduced with this generation, the Dynamax. When you use the Max Geyser that making the rain begins, there are so many different effects for each type of attack, like for example the wind type making you faster and so on.
Yeah.
In fact, the Dynamax was so powerful in Pokemon, for example, in Pokemon Strategy, player versus player, in Pokemon Showdown, for example, that had been banned pretty fast, because yeah, this Sphinx is pretty unbalanced.
Yeah.
But in speedrun it's very interesting, because for example in 90% you have to find a route without using the Dynamax, because as you can see, it's a very long animations.
Yeah.
So we will not have this problematic in this category specifically, but in 80% that's make the things really interesting to route.
And also, so this Slowbro has an ability. Okay, there's no text, it's fine. This Slowbro has an ability called Quick Draw, which if you're familiar with a Quick Claw, that's 10% to go first. Quick Draw is that, but 30%. However, it didn't happen, so we were all well and good. There's like some text mashing to go through before that donation incentive ends. Basically telling, like, Mustard's like coming in saying, yeah, Clara, I knew you cheated with the Toxic Spikes, but it's okay, I kind of forgive you. And yeah, so like a moment left. But if there's any messages or anything at this point, just in general, any messages for like what we are here for?
Yeah, sure. I can let you know, yeah, we are raising money for Alzheimer Fonden, and did you know that any kind of revenue that ESA makes this event is going all to them?
Wow.
Did you know that, and ESA has speedrunstore.com.
Oh.
And there you can buy some speedrun merch, and we just got some new merch added. There is a new ESA Plum shirt and hoodie that you can buy.
Oh, wow.
So if you like the intermission videos with the Plum game, I'm not sure if you do, but if you do, you can buy a shirt with her design on it. Yeah, and a hoodie now available.
Is there a Splum in the audience? I don't think.
Is there
yeah, because
no, there isn't Etienne though.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Plum, sadly.
And I would say at this point, I assume that we have not met the thing. So what we are sadly going to have to do now is, well, actually, first, we're going to do a couple of things first. We're going to actually change the... wait, no, I don't need to change the date, because we're not doing Get Urshifu. You have missed out on that. We're going to save, though.
Oh yeah, normally when doing the route with Urshifu, we change the date to meeting some Blessy into the wide area to making some very fast experience.
That Kufu.
Oh yeah, but no, not today.
Alas.
Not in this run.
Yeah.
Yeah, to get some experience, to having this very interesting strategy to push this Pokemon with a certain amount of experience that can be used reversal, a pretty powerful attack when that give tons of damage if you are very low on HP. So, but not in
Yeah, not for get Urshifu. Or not for don't get Urshifu.
Yeah.
Don't get Urshifu is a lot simpler. We're just going to head straight to the Tower of Two-Fists, the Tower of Darkness specifically.
One of the towers.
Yeah, one of the Towers of Two-Fists, the Tower of Darkness. So right now we're just being like Mustard doesn't know what we're about to do. So he's saying, oh, we're going to send all these people out to various different view spots so you can raise your friendship with Khufu. Because the aim is to be to make grow the Khufu's confidence. But I guess the best way to do that is trial by fire and just to release it into the wild, I guess, at this point. So we're going to swap them around, do that, release the Bulbasaur first. That's not necessary for this, but why not?
Goodbye.
And we are now going to talk to Mustard, who's going to be very disappointed in us. But it's quicker. It's like a 10-minute difference in the run, so I'd say at this point it's probably around 10 minutes left, I'd say.
You have the timer just there, but
Yeah, I'm just trying to think in terms of when the normal run would
oh
end.
yeah, from the end of the run. Oh,
Yeah, it's
around,
the end of the run.
Around 10,
Yeah,
10 or 12 minutes. No more than 12, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So we do have to make our way over to the tower, which is a very long walk. That's a Boufflant. One interesting thing about Boufflant, for all other Boufflants except that one, they will chase after you. You cannot outrun a Boufflant, so if one happens to spawn in this moment, it will just charge at us, and we can't do anything about it. But that one's a static spawn, so it's always funny when seeing people run this for the first time. But they're aware of the Boufflant chasing after you. They'll see it, and they'll quickly just dart to the left. It's just in the hopes that they didn't see them, but it'll just not move. And then we're going to just go through the Forest of Focus one last time. I'm going to make sure that we... Pikachu. We're going to make sure we don't run into anything. I didn't actually see anything that spawned in that bit of grass. I was worried for a second. That's one there, so that is going to be perfectly fine. We're going to make our way through the grass.
All right.
I just thinking, this is actually the original Sobble, isn't it? Yeah, because we didn't end up changing the
Yes, this is
profile
the
of-
original. Honestly, it's a valid
Yeah,
run.
it is a valid run, right?
Yeah.
All right, Chansey.
No.
But,
All right, Daniel.
No change of profile. You just have some resets from the Onyx, but that's
Yeah.
totally viable for a
Yeah.
speedrun.com submission at this moment.
Yeah, definitely. And I was just thinking, it was too. They might be a bit too close. But if we'd have I guess if we'd have been in the Onyx first time, this would have definitely been on world record pace. Which is what if? But
Yeah.
it's if this thing didn't happen, we'd be in the fastest pace ever. Of course, yeah, sure.
Welcome
But
to Pokemon speedrunning.
welcome to Pokemon speedrunning.
Yeah.
So
Honestly, we will never be able probably to be in the marathon to use to be on a world record pace or even in the PB pace because Pokemon speedrunning is about making many different try until every single star aligns perfectly to
Yes.
make the run. Because it's Pokemon speedrun is some kind of there is a lot of RNG to deal with, of course.
Yeah.
And we deal with RNG by resetting. This is how we handle the randomness by the law of the great number.
yeah, so welcome to the Tower of Two Fists, where everyone's going to effectively kind of be giving us the cold shoulder because we released. Go on. Khufu.
Khufu.
Yeah.
So one thing I was meant to do actually, I was meant to use the rare candy. I believe we can get away with not doing that though, until we level up later. So it's all well and good.
This James Pond is pretty good anyways.
Yeah.
So
It is a very solid James Pond. So and we also didn't get Sucker Punched or Fury Swiped, which is very fortunate. Sucker Punch will give the opponent priority in this case.
Yeah.
So time save.
So are you in Torrent right now?
no.
I don't think so.
No, not in Torrent, which is actually kind of a good thing because if we were in Torrent,
Oh yeah.
we would probably get defeated by the Scraggy. We're gonna Muddy Water next. That was a very low roll, so we're gonna hope we hit. 85% chance.
Very
good.
There we go. Justin Torrent, 21 HP out of
Yeah.
64.
Though actually, at this point, we're actually going to heal because don't want to risk the critical hit from the Inkay. And we don't need to be in Torrent for this next fight. Or we're going to walk into
Tiny
the walk into the side there. So if we just do Potion, that should cover as well enough. But yeah, we go through this very quickly with well, both with Khufu, like this tower section. We go through this very quickly with Khufu and with well, Drizzile at this point.
Yeah, the time loss from Khufu is mainly from killing the Blizzes,
Yeah.
which is very slow, but it's and also high in variance. You can.
Calculated. And we're gonna water pulse this because it should kill still.
This is basically a Khufu run. You're at 1 HP.
Yeah.
Just like in reversal.
Sure.
You're just showing off what they're missing.
Yeah. Causing me a heart attack at the same time as well. Alright, so we leveled up there. I'm going to use the rare candy now, which I should have used earlier. We're not going to teach Sucker Punch, and I'm also just going to equip the Rocket Helmet now. I'm also going to actually heal. We'll use an Oran Berry. That should cover it well enough.
Yeah, and you'll see the reason for Jordan equipping the Rocky Helmet pretty soon. It's quite a crucial item coming up here a little bit.
For this final fight after this one.
Yeah.
So I'd say at this point, just for some shout outs, thank you to so Garfield the Lightning who made the majority of this route, and then also to Aspect for transporting it over to Swords, because Garth did the Shield version. If you're interested in any of the Pokemon or the Switch Pokemon speedruns, there's the Switch Pokemon Discord, or any of the Pokemon speedruns, there's various different Discords. Go to the game on SRC and you will find it there.
Yeah. Every game has, or every generation pretty much has their own Discord, or every console. There's the DS, the Gen 1 to 3, the Switch Discord, etc. So there are plenty.
The DS Discord too,
Yeah.
and so on. So yeah, the Pokemon community, the Pokemon speedrunning community in general is very inclusive. You kinda have an answer pretty instantly from every question you have if you want to start Pokemon speedrunning. So yeah, don't wait if you like Pokemon and try a speedrun. And also this generation is kinda it's not hard honestly to dive into it.
Yeah, it's a very, very good game to get into speedrunning Pokemon.
Yeah, to begin it's a really good one. Here we go.
So final fight.
Boss.
And now you'll see why Jordan has equipped the Rocky Helmet. So this Khufu on the other side has a Focus Sash, I believe,
It does.
which is basically like the Pokemon ability Sturdy. If you one-shot something from full health,
We missed, so we have to start again.
if you one-shot something from full health with a Focus Sash, it will live on 1 HP, which we want to avoid. So we equipped the Rocky Helmet. You also do this for the Get Urshifu run.
Yes.
Because it's fast.
Yeah.
Optimal.
Also, I just want to throw out, because you said for any Pokemon speed, just games speedrunning in general. Just pick up a game. I didn't start off with Pokemon speedrun. I started off with Wii Sports Resort Cycling. Very different to this. You can get just speedrun. It's fun.
Yeah.
And if you're watching this, you definitely have at least some interest. I'd highly recommend it. Don't need capture devices or anything. Just if you want to try it out, just play a game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the games are getting more accessible as time goes on. As emulators get their own boards, and custom firmware capture is allowed for the 3DS speedruns that have their own boards. So there's just Pokemon is more accessible than ever before for many generations. So
Yeah.
if you like it, I'm sure you'd have a good time giving it a go.
Yeah. Also, time is going to be coming up in a couple of seconds. And so in 3, 2, after this, there's going to be a Fade to Black now. And there we go. Yeah. So thank you for commentating with me. I think that's actually the first time Don't Get Urshifu was shown in the marathon as well.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you a lot for having me too. That was great to comment and also to dive into the commentary in this DLC, because I still have to finish it.
Fair enough. I'd say that's everything.
All right, before we leave, one quick donation. We got $50 from Green Lightning.
Oh,
Says,
Garfield.
hey, Jordan and Singus, big fan.
Thank you. Thank you, Green.
And they put it towards naming the Ekans Snake.
Snake.
So yeah, thank you for that awesome run. Coming up next, we have Grip Shift by the BPG13. Don't go anywhere.